I woke up in the morning just to celebrate. I don't need to get, I just wanna work and make this money. I'm so glad, I'm so thankful that I can see today. Cause ain't too many people made it out the city where I'm from. Pop bottles of V&J, and he on a good day. Any day you can.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy DA back with another reaction video, and I have my beautiful girl Nah, like always. So today we finna, matter of fact, before we even get started, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Y'all be watching, but y'all don't be subscribing. Hit that like button, and today we're gonna be watching the 15 worst serial killers of all time. So you know this finna be lit. But yeah, we finna get into the video.
Danger Doan. From crazy clown killers butchering small children to the man who killed his own father and ate his heart, we count 15 of the most dangerous psychopathic murderers we've ever had the misfortune to hear about. Number 15. Jeffrey Dahmer, an American serial killer from Milwaukee. He would lead men to his apartment and dismember their bodies, keeping their skulls as souvenirs. He did this a total of 17 times and was actually known to eat parts of his victims from time to time. Luckily, his final would-be victim escaped, managed to flag down a police car passing on the road, and Jeffrey was sentenced to 900 years jail, but was found dead at prison in 1994.
Why they didn't just say like
Moses Sithol, seen as one of the most infamous serial killers of South Africa, he began what was known as the ABC murders, since his murders began in a town starting with A, Atteridgeville, then moved to Boksburg, and finally Cleveland. He would lead victims into abandoned fields and overpower them, usually involving rape and subsequently death. After he was captured in 1995, his sentence was set to over 2,000 years with a possible parole in just under 1,000 years.
Like, show me dead.
Ted Bundy, a complete maniac who disguised himself as a charismatic, somewhat friendly kind of guy. He would often kidnap women posing as an authority figure or a disabled man to catch them off guard, but then sometimes he would get so impatient he would just boot down your door and stab you in the face while you sleep, then rape and cut off your head as a souvenir. He was captured in 1979, and 10 years later he was sentenced to the electric chair. Number 12. Pedro Filho. This guy is intense, and he comes from a history of terrible violence that shaped the man himself. Before Pedro was even born, his father beat his mother and caused him a head injury in the womb, and then by the time Pedro turned 18 years of age, he had killed 10 people. Then he killed his father and ate pieces of his heart before getting sent to prison, where he killed more than 70 people. Because Brazil has maximum sentencing, Pedro was released in 2007 and is still around to this day. Number 11. Dennis Nilsen. This guy was lonely, but in all the wrong ways. He lured over 15 young men and boys to his flat in London between 1978 and 1983. He killed them and slept with them in his bed because he wanted company. He would dispose of the decomposing corpses by burning them or flushing bits of them down the toilet. He was eventually caught because a plumber found human flesh in the pipes, so Nilsen was arrested and jailed for life. Number 10. Daniel Camargo. This guy was a child murderer with over 150 victims, usually young virgin girls. He only confessed to killing 72 people though, but he was jailed, and then he escaped from jail and went around killing even more people in Ecuador. But he was arrested in 1989 and killed in jail. It is believed he might have been motivated to murder due to his stepmother, who abused him as a child.
Joachim Kroll.
This guy comes in from Germany, a man who killed and ate 13 people, including small children.
8 people eating people?
Police got so desperate to catch him that they went knocking door to door asking if anyone had seen him before. And they got lucky when someone in Kroll's building pointed out guts had been jamming plumbing pipes. It turned out Kroll had been slicing flesh off victims and cooking them to save on grocery bills.
Save on grocery bills.
His heart exploded in jail around 1991. Number 8. Henry Lee Lucas. This guy originally came forward to say he and his accomplice Otis Toole had slaughtered thousands of people. In actuality though, police suspected him of only killing around 200, but only 4 of which were ever proven. Bizarrely, George W. Bush stepped up as governor at the time to change his death sentence to life in prison. Lucas died of natural causes at the age of 64, But we never really found out why George showed this strange generosity.
Number 7.
John Wayne Gacy, also known as the Killer Clown. He was originally arrested for sexually assaulting 2 teenage boys, but later released. He then enjoyed dressing up as Pogo the Clown, volunteering at parades and parties. But then we find out he killed 33 young boys, burying their bodies in his yard, the river, and near his house, while dressed as the clown. He was later arrested once again, where he confessed to his heinous crimes.
Number 6.
Luis Garavito. This took place in Colombia, and it's the subject of much debate as well as an ongoing documentary. In 1999, he was arrested and convicted of killing at least 140 children, which would lead to a several hundred-year imprisonment at the least. Except the Colombian justice system has a maximum penalty of 30 to 40 years. Because he was very cooperative and apologetic, his sentence was reduced to 22 years. A public outcry continuously is preventing this from taking place.
Number 5.
Peter Sutcliffe, also known as the Yorkshire Ripper, who went on a 5-year rampage to murder around 13 women in the late 70s. Most were prostitutes who he hit with hammers, stabbed, and then sexually assaulted just before they died. He was only caught because he happened to be driving through the red light district and a police patrolman recognized his registration plates.
Number 4.
Pedro Lopez. He's often called the monster of the Andes, a man who murdered and raped young girls aged between 8 and 12. He was arrested in 1980 and later convicted of killing 110 girls, even though he confessed to over 300 total kills. In 1998, he was released on a $50 bail. A $50 bail! And now his current whereabouts are unknown.
Number 3.
Oh, this nigga's still living!
A bit of an old one from the 1400s. The celebrated military captain in the army of Saint Joan of Arc, who later turned to a life of crime. He would lure young boys to his castle with the promise of sweets, then torture, and mutilate them in deeply inhumane ways. His greatest pleasure was to bathe in their blood, to stab them in the jugular, and allow warm blood to wash over him. His servants would then burn the bodies. Pretty sickening stuff.
Number 2.
Andrei Chikatilo, one of the most notorious serial murderers from Ukraine, the Ripper of Rostov, who had a strange fetish that he could only get off by stabbing and slashing victims instead of raping them. He spent 20 years free, butchering at least 50 people in the early 90s before he was arrested, then executed by a gunshot at 57 years of age.
Number 1.
Gary Ridgway. This man, known as the Green River Killer, murdered 71 women over the course of around 10 years. He would then pick up prostitutes and strangle them cold, then dump their bodies in the Green River, hence his nickname. He eluded the police for quite a while before they picked him up in 2001. That is it for this countdown. Have a good one! Who later turned to a life of crime. He would lure.
Man, that's it for this video.
That was a crazy video.
I'm still shocked some of these people free.
Got out, right? Like, what in the world? That's the scary part of this whole video. They're out walking right now.
Dang, they probably in North Carolina.
Don't say that.
That's it for this video. I got my girl braiding my hair. So,
We out.
we out.
You did, middle fingers out to the pigs, bitch, you dig, yeah, I